We're going to talk about the hemp bill and what is happening in Alabama and what has happened, and she's going to come in and give you more details. But I had some show and tell that I wanted to tell you about. So in 2018, the U.S. Farm Bill allowed, it was a great product, a great idea to help farmers grow hemp, but it was really supposed to be for the fibers. Hemp fiber is amazing, it's really good, it's very strong, and they thought, okay, this is good, we're going to get the farmers back in business. Well, they weren't thinking about edible THC because hemp is a type of cannabis. It is cannabis, but it's non-psychoactive at 0.3%. Anyway, there was that little loophole. So what they would do was they would take the original hemp and then they would wash it with a bunch of other drugs. They would add THC to it, and then they would sell it. And they would say, hey, we're following the law because it started out as hemp. It started out just fine, non-psychoactive. So I just wanted to show you, and you see this is being sold in gas stations, convenience stores, vape stores, and I just wanted to show you a little bit of how much. In your packet, open up your packet because you'll see the slides much better than you'll see up here. I just wanted to show you, it's hard to tell how big that little Rice Krispie treat is. But I want you to see how big this, do you see how big this is? This is tiny. I could fit that thing in my mouth probably, one whole thing. You know how many servings this is? Well, don't look. This is 5 servings. This is equivalent to 5 to 7 joints. Look how pretty it is. It's Rice Krispie treat looking happy thing. This is what kids would want to eat. Okay, so I just want you to know 5 to 7 joints. This cute little sucker is 1 to 2 joints. Just think having this on your counter, you got your little grandkid coming through. This is dangerous stuff. So, there were some legislators that realized we needed to do something about this problem. Another reason we needed to do something about this problem, look at this chart. DUIs in Alabama, and this was beginning in 22-23. For the first time in the state of Alabama that year, THC was responsible for DUIs and automobile deaths more than alcohol. We don't have recreational marijuana. We don't have, the medical marijuana is not even seeing patients yet. Yet THC is the #1 issue that we're seeing in automobile accidents. That is a real problem. So definitely something needed to be done. Eagle Forum wanted a ban. We advocated for a ban. We were told you're not going to get a ban. So the House passed a bill. And we went to the Senate and said, listen, if you pass this bill, let's change it in the Senate and get it to where it's a complete ban. We actually had written a bill, and Christine Carr helped write a bill that April Weaver in the Senate carried that was a complete ban. But the Senate was not going to allow that to go through. So they have this House bill that passed, which we were not happy with. It was too loose. It didn't ban everything. But it did get tightened up in the Senate a little. I mean, a lot, but still not to what we wanted. We didn't even get to see the final version until it was on the floor being debated. So we did not tell anyone in the Senate how to vote because we didn't even see the bill. But we worked every day in that Senate, working with legislators, advocating for a ban, making sure good language was in there. And one thing I am so proud of is we put a provision in that bill, we asked for it to be added, that if they closed that loophole at the federal level and stopped, they would make all this stuff illegal. We put it in the Alabama bill that if they do this at the federal level and make this stuff illegal, then we're going to follow suit in Alabama and it will be illegal in Alabama. That was awesome because guess what just happened? The federal government closed that loophole. Had we, Eagle Forum, not put that language in, then it would have been okay for Alabama because we've passed a law that it's okay in Alabama to have 10 milligrams of THC in these products. Well, guess what? Not anymore. So praise the Lord for that. Now, it does do a lot of things. It does ban a lot of issues. When a policeman would, let's say he's going to go to a pot shop, you can't tell the difference between hemp and marijuana. It looks the same. So you could pull somebody over and it's hemp, marijuana, you don't know. They could just say it's hemp. This bill banned all of that leafy looking stuff, which is great. Law enforcement loves that. This THC from hemp cannot be synthetically altered in any way. That is great. Also, no smokable products, no direct shipments, no online sales, drive-through sales. All right, here's how it becomes a practical ban. Let me just get to the other, where's the test? Here, the testing. I know you can't read that real well, but it now requires that every batch has to be certified. Currently, a lot of these companies certify their own stuff. So it has to be certified from a special, federally, nationally recognized testing company, and it has to be for every batch, and it has to be on file. This costs so much money that it's shutting people down already. It's shutting businesses down already, which is great. So even though it's not a complete ban, it is a practical ban because it's making it so hard to sell this stuff. And if a law enforcement or ABC board comes in and says, hey, I want to look at your products in here, and they don't have that batch, they don't have that certificate of analysis, they can seize those products right away. Also, normally now you can have 10 milligrams of THC per serving. We didn't like that. We didn't want any of it, but 10 is still too high. And each serving has to be individually wrapped. So this little thing would be 5 little packages, probably less than the size of my pinky. That's going to cost a lot of money to wrap all those individually, and they have to be child-proofed also. You can't have more than 4 servings in a package, So you'd have 4 little tiny fingers in a package. And these are now only available at 21 and above stores or that have a hemp license. Okay, now beverages. I don't know if you all know, if any of you are liking hemp drinks, I hate to bust your bubble, but there's THC in there. Soccer moms like these hemp drinks. They probably have no idea what they're doing and they're out driving their kids around. But there is THC in these hemp drinks. But now, and we wanted nothing to do with the hemp drinks. We wanted all of that completely banned, but it made it into the bill. So these beverages can be sold at 21 and above stores and certain grocery stores, depending on the size and if it's big grocery stores, and if they have a certificate. Again, they can only have 10 milligrams per container, only 4 containers in a box, and the same testing requirements. And there's other things, got to be behind glass. It makes it really difficult. The people aren't going to want to sell it in their grocery stores because they have to have like a special person back there watching that stuff. And now, before this bill, it's not even really gone into effect yet, but there's no on-site consumption. So you could get THC drinks at bars, restaurants. Well, this bill does ban that. You can't have that anymore. Okay, you can't market to kids. There's a new excise tax. I wish it was 100% tax. There's already a lot of taxes on it, but another 10%. And then the penalties are much higher now too. Okay, I'm just trying to get to this is another good thing. Everyone be conscious of if you've got county commissioners, city council members that and thank you, Christine Carr. She said, let's write a moratorium, just a blank moratorium sample that we could give to any county commissioner, any city council, basically saying, since this bill passed, we are not going to renew any licenses. We're not going to issue any licenses until we have time to really figure this thing out. And it's been wonderful because we have had a lot of counties already passing their moratoriums, and that was brilliant. And then again, like I said, we'll follow the U.S. Congress, so when that passed, it was all great. And then there's 2 important dates, and this is what Catherine is really going to be telling us about how this is going to play out. July 1st, the ABC board is supposed to begin writing their policies and getting everything in order, and correct me if any of this is different than what you know. The hemp and vape stores are going to transition into 21 and above stores. Retailers can start filing for their new hemp licenses. But these things are still being sold. And I hope Catherine's going to clarify this for us. January 1st is when enforcement actually happens and when ABC is going to go in and start taking these things away. Now, I told you that the federal law loophole was closed. The president signed the bill in November, but it doesn't take effect for a whole year. So a lot of things can happen in a year. One of them being in January, probably January, February, the appropriations bills are going to come through, and the Agriculture Committee, they've got the lobbyists on the marijuana industry are working furiously to open that loophole back up in that appropriations bill. So I will guarantee you right now, Eagle Forum will be working very hard to make sure that loophole stays closed, and we alert you because we may need you to call Congress and help them to close that.